Specifically, today's topic going to be Black August. So as you come into this live, please share this live, especially my brothers and sisters that's outside of the empire of the United States of America. Please share this live so y'all brothers and sisters can get educated about Black August too. So I'm going to just, give it a few minutes, let people come in the live. This live is specifically, most definitely for all my brothers and sisters that follow me that doesn't live inside the empire of the United States of America. So this live is really, really, for you. So, all my brothers and sisters across the world that's fighting, for liberation, for nation statehood, freeing Africa, everybody that's conjoined into the Pan-Africanist movement that's trying to liberate Africa. This live is for you because you can also do this wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? You can commemorate these brothers and sisters that sacrificed their lives here in the Empire of America also, because these are also your brothers and sisters that we're commemorating during Black August. And specifically, a lot of influence of Black liberation, comes from outside the Empire of the United States of America. So this is for all our martyrs, man. No matter if you are in the Empire of the United States of America or on the outside of the Empire of the United States of America. So as everybody coming to the live, please share this live. Hey, salute. Good evening. Good evening to my peoples out there in Lebanon, Beirut. I most definitely send my condolences and positive energies to that explosion or that took place in Beirut. And a lot of brothers and sisters lost their lives in Beirut yesterday. So salute to you that's watching from Beirut. So let me go ahead and share this with my timeline as well on my personal page. Let me go ahead and share it with my personal timeline as well. Let me go ahead and share this. Hold on. There we go. That's right, brother. Let's liberate Africa, brother. Share it to my timeline. Okay. Go ahead and share that to my timeline. Salute to you. I appreciate you too. I appreciate you tuning in. Much love to our Biafran brothers and sisters. Let me go ahead and put that in there also. Much love to our Biafran brothers and sisters in the struggle. The terrorism is still going on in Nigeria. The terrorism is still going on in Biafra land. So if you're not up on the Biafran genocide, I suggest you do yourself justice and do your research on the Biafran struggle that's, in the Biafran genocide that's continuing to go on. I'm still an advocate for the Biafran struggle and the restoration of Biafra. So don't get it twisted. I do all this teaching, because I do this. I educate our people on our struggle across the board. So don't get it twisted. That Biafra flag is still flying in the background. I'm still with my brothers and sisters. I'm still riding with y'all. I hope y'all still riding with us New Africans in America. Free Biafra, free New Africa, man. Let's get into it, man. What's today's topic? Today's topic today is Black August, resistance, martyrdom, fasting, returning to the land, nation, statehood. And I really wanted to hop on here because I wanted to hop on here real quick because right now I'm doing my fast right now for Black August for today. Yes, please share worldwide, share this live because I want to educate all my brothers and sisters about Black August real quick. Just in case you missed it, this is why I came on Facebook today because I did the interview. I did the Black August from Black August to New Africa interview with the sister Amani Sawari yesterday on Instagram Live. So I decided to hop on Facebook Live today for my brothers and sisters who missed the live yesterday because you may not be on Instagram. So I'm just going to go ahead and just, fill y'all in on what we discussed yesterday so y'all can be caught up with what I discussed yesterday with this beautiful sister, Amani Sawari, about Black August. And so if you want to see the interview, that I did yesterday with the sister. The link is in the description box of this live. And all you have to do is tap the link and you can go straight to that live and watch the interview I did with the sister yesterday. But I'm going to catch y'all up on a few things because the live wasn't that long yesterday. So I decided to come on Facebook because I know Facebook Live is longer and they don't cut you off on Facebook. So I wanted to come on here and chop it up real quick on what Black August is so my brothers and sisters across the world can be up, caught up to date and educated on what Black August is, especially my African brothers and sisters that live outside the Empire of America. Like I said again, today's topic is Black August resistance, martyrdom, fasting, returning to the land, nation statehood, because I want to connect Black August and what we're commemorating to the ultimate goal, our ultimate destiny as a people here inside the Empire of America, and also for my brothers and sisters outside of the Empire of the United States of America, because this all ties into an ecosystem of a struggle, because at the same time that we're fighting for liberation here in North America, we have brothers and sisters across the globe who are also fighting for total liberation from their oppressors. And we all, in the end, should be fighting for one goal and one goal only, which is the free Africa. So I'm going to tie Black August into that. You see what I'm saying? Which ties into specifically what we call the flea days, which ties into what I'm going to also discuss, the ancient healing practice of fasting. Fasting is a form of resistance. Fasting is a form of, resistance against any type of oppression. And it's also an ancient healing system of, just purely spiritually and mental liberation, if that makes sense to you, because the first liberation takes place in the mind. We must revolutionize our mind first. And something that I'm gonna touch on real quick later is going to be on the why people don't associate fasting with Africa. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think fasting comes from like other cultures, which it does. It's a lot of cultures that do, participate and observe fasting. You see what I'm saying? All cultures across the globe. But it seems that Africa tends to get left out. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to fasting. Fasting is a sacred, ancient healing practice of Africans. Africans were fasting on the continent from the consumption and the origin of man. Period. So, let me go ahead and just hop into this, though, so I can explain to y'all what Black August is. And also, I'm going to be discussing something real quick about one of these brothers. Something that I didn't get to really discuss yesterday with the sister. About Black August, and one of the main important things that took place, why Black August, sparked off, and became what it is today, Black August month, the commemoration month, Black August memorial, Black August resistance. Let me just go ahead and hop into it. What is Black August? Because I get this question all the time. What exactly is Black August? Black August is a month where we commemorate martyrs of African liberation that comes from the struggle of the Black liberation movement inside of the United States of America. Because one thing that I love about Black August, and the reason why I want more people to get educated about Black August, because Black August is a period in time that we can educate our people about the struggle of Black liberation movement, because we know that this struggle tends to be suppressed. It tends to be repressed. It doesn't get all the glamour. It doesn't get all the media attention. It doesn't get all the focus of what I call the commercialized struggle, the material commercialized struggle that they put in front of the cameras 24/7, which is the other alternative movement, which I am not against, because every brother and sister has the right to struggle for what they believe in and what they stand on. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily me or a lot of my brothers and sisters who are part of the Black liberation movement, because we're struggling for something totally different, which is human rights. But you have certain brothers and sisters who are out here struggling for civil rights, and that's their human right. If they want to struggle for human rights and to be integrationists and to fit inside the empire of the United States of America, that's their decision. That's what their choice is. But I'm speaking today from the choice of our brothers and sisters who chose black liberation, who chose freedom, sovereignty. You see what I'm saying? And took that ultimate sacrifice, which was spilling their blood and their death for our nation. Black August is twofold. Black August is twofold. There's twofold, objectives and observations and commemorations of Black August. What are those two commemorations? One is the main commemoration on why Black August is what it is today, which is Black August Memorial, BAM. We call it BAM. And Black August Memorial consists of commemorating and memorializing those brothers and sisters who spilled their blood, who were assassinated, who were murdered inside the prisons, inside the gulags, inside the slave camps of the United States of America, and also the brothers and sisters who spilled blood, who was assassinated outside the walls of the gulags, the prisons, the penitentiaries, the jails inside the empire of the United States of America. The people we call freedom fighters. Now, this scares a lot of people, even black people, African Americans, new Africans. Freedom fighters tend to have, how can I put it, tend to have a negative image that has been portrayed by our enemies, our historical enemies, the white supremacist power structure, the global white supremacist power structure tend to negatively portray freedom fighting as something that's criminal, something that's negative. So this is why the elders and the OGs created Black August, to paint the historical proper context and to decriminalize these brothers and sisters we call revolutionaries, these brothers and sisters we call freedom fighters. You see what I'm saying? This is why Black August was established, to paint and control the narrative of who we love and who fought for us, who sacrificed their lives, who took the ultimate sacrifice, whether it's doing 40 to 50 years in prison, the brothers and sisters who've been murdered in prison, the brothers and sisters who were murdered outside the prison, who was fighting for what we call liberation, total liberation from our oppressors, from our colonizers, which is the United States of America, if that makes sense to you. So, twofold, Black August Memorial, which we call BAM, is dedicated to these 8 freedom fighters of the pantheon of Black August. And their names are, write these names down, W.L. Nolan, George Jackson, Katari Gaulden, Jonathan Jackson, the brother of George Jackson, James McClain, William Christmas, Alvin Miller, and Cleveland Edwards. These 8 brothers were freedom fighters. One was outside of the prison walls, Jonathan Jackson. The other 7 brothers died inside the prison walls, inside the gulags, fighting against the racist power structure from within inside the prison system. You see what I'm saying? So remember those 8 names, because those 8 names is what Black August is about. Those specifically 8 names. And also, let me throw this in here. Black August is also a month that we commemorate the political prisoners and the prisoners of war who are still alive, who are captured behind the walls, the prison walls, right today. Matulu Shakur, Jalil Muttaqin, Jalil Alameen, a.k.a. H. Rap Brown, Mumil Abu Jamal, Russell Maroon Schultz, Chip Fitzgerald, and the other brothers and sisters who are captured behind the wall as political prisoners or prisoners of war. This month is also for them to bring attention to their cases, to bring attention to their struggle, to bring attention to their sacrifice, because Black August is about sacrifice. It's about sacrifice, discipline, and freedom fighting, studying, training, And most important, what I'm going to discuss before I get off here, fasting, which is a form of resistance. And this month is dedicated to resistance, if that makes sense to you. Also, the second part of the twofold of what Black August is called Black August Resistance. BAR, B-A-R, BAR, Black August Resistance. And this other half of Black August commemoration is mainly, I would say, dedicated to our brothers and sisters that's still alive, the freedom fighters that are still alive, that's behind the walls, the politicized brothers and sisters, the organizing brothers and sisters, the revolutionary brothers and sisters who are still alive today that's captured behind the walls. And also Black August Resistance Month is dedicated to what we call the historical chronology and context of our struggle of resistance, which is all the brothers and sisters who have been fighting back resistance since we've been brought here as enslaved political prisoners, misnomered slaves, and who were took into bondage, who was took into the system of slavery. You see what I'm saying? The brothers and sisters who started to fight back on the slave ships. The brothers and sisters who started to fight soon as they were taken into the slave plantations, the slave camps of the deep south of the empire of America. In the slavery history, the epoch of slavery. We also give commemoration to them in Black August Resistance. All the slave rebellions that took place in August. The Nat Turner slave rebellion. The Haiti Aïdi slave rebellion. The Gabriel Prosser conspiracy rebellion. The brothers and sisters who rose up on the slave plantations throughout the history of North America for 400 years, 246 to 300 years, we were fighting back on slave plantations. So we also give commemoration to the month of August of slave rebellions, because we know throughout history, a lot of slave rebellions started to manifest during the hottest periods of the summer. And being that August is the hottest month of the summer, a lot of slave rebellions were manifested and initiated by our elders, our ancestors in history during the period of the epoch of slavery. So we also commemorate that history. And we commemorate birthdays of freedom fighters and martyrs during Black August month, like Marcus Garvey, Matulu Shakur, Russell Maroon Schultz's birthday is in this month. I do believe Sophia Bukhari, who I think, she transitioned in this month. Another great freedom fighter. So it's a whole chronology of resistance in history from Black people in North America that we commemorate and we memorialize during this month, man. This whole month is about liberation, period. And also, one of the most important parts that I didn't get to touch on yesterday, let me speak on this real quick. Let me break this down also when it comes to Black August. We have specific dates in Black August that we commemorate these freedom fighters and martyrs on, these new African martyrs on, who come out of the new African revolutionary prison movement. They're called Flea Days. Flea Day, F-L-E-A, Flea Days are 4 specific days that we commemorate these ancestors, these brothers and sisters who sacrificed their lives, who were murdered and assassinated on these specific 4 days called Flea Days. What does Flea Day means? The acronym. The acronym of Flea Day means First Liberation Expedition of Africa. So that lets you know that these brothers and sisters in the prison system, even though being captured, still never forgot about what the total end game and the total objective of what we're fighting for as Black people, which is the liberation of Africa. So these great elders, OGs, brothers and sisters behind the wall chose to continue that because they know the end goal, which is the liberation of Africa. So they created this acronym, which is called FLEE. First Liberation Expedition of Africa. So on these Flea Days, these 4 Flea Days, which takes place on August 1st, 1978, was the day that one of our historical successors of George Jackson, because George Jackson was assassinated August 21st, 1971. So years later, 1978, This brother chose to rise up and take on the torch of the prison struggle and the black liberation movement behind the walls by the name of Qatari Gaudin. Write that name down. Qatari Gaudin was assassinated, murdered on August 1st, 1978, due to medical neglect. This brother died due to medical neglect. The prison system let him die. He suffered a wound, a significant wound blow to the head on the prison yards, because this brother was the successor to the revolutionary George Jackson, who was the field marshal of the Black Panther Party. So that's one flea day. August 1st, every August 1st, we commemorate Qatari Gaudin. The next flea day is August 7th, 1970. Jonathan Jackson, James McClain, William Christmas, Rochelle McGee. The August 7th movement, where Jonathan Jackson chose to rise up on that day and lead a military campaign to free his brothers and the Soledad brothers from prison. August 7th, 1970. The Marin City Court Slave Rebellion is what it's called. Write that down. August 7th, 1970. The Marin City Court Rebellion took place. That's the second flea day, August 7th, that we fast on. The third flea day is August 13th. Annually, August 13th, we commemorate the assassination of these three brothers. W.L. Nolan, who was the predecessor to George Jackson and Qatari Gaudin. A great brother by the name of W.L. Nolan was assassinated, who was a great leader, a great revolutionary freedom fighter, a great organizer in the prison system of Soledad and San Quentin. Way before George Jackson. This brother chose to organize the prison system against oppression of the prison system. W.L. Nolan was Alvin Miller and Cleveland Edwards. These three brothers were murdered by a prison guard on the prison yard, January 13th, 1970. So this third flea day is commemorated on August 13th annually to commemorate the history of this brother, W.L. Nolan and Cleveland Edwards and Alvin Miller. Every August 13th. The last flea day is the final flea day that we fast on. It's August 21st annually. This is the day that the great revolutionary dragon, guerrilla, nationalist, communist, George Jackson was assassinated also by prison guards. So August 21st is the final flea day, the first liberation expedition of Africa that we commemorate by fasting, by abstaining from intake of food and anything else on that day to commemorate their sacrifice and the blood that they spilled. So the 4 flea days are August 1st, August 7th, August 13th, and August 21st. These 4 specific days you are required to fast on. And what does the fasting consist of? The fasting simply consists of fasting from sunup to sundown. 24 hours of no food, and you can drink as little as probably as much liquid of water. You are required, if you must, drink water on those flea days to get through the flea day. But we extract from any intake of any food to honor those martyrs, those new African martyrs on those 4 days. But also, we must understand that you can commemorate by fasting on any day that you want to fast on. You can fast on any day throughout the totality of the month of Black August. Some brothers fast all 31 days of August to commemorate these martyrs, political prisoners, and freedom fighters. You can fast all 31 days. But if you want to do a simple fast to commemorate these great Black liberationists, you can do it for the 4 days only, which I highly recommend that you do it on the 4 days. Fast on the 4 days is what I do. I fast on the 4 days, the flea days, during Black August. Also, what's required on these flea days in Black August is for you to train yourself. And what do I mean by train yourself? But this month, you should be actively exercising throughout Black August. You should, intensify the activity of being active through exercising, training to get your body in shape, to get your endurance in shape. Because this is a protracted struggle. This is a marathon. So in order for you to be fit for the struggle of Black liberation, we require you to exercise. Get into the mode of incorporating exercising into your daily habits by starting in Black August. Discipline through exercise to get yourself in shape. The last requirement, which is the most important requirement of Black August, is study. This is the month we push our brothers and sisters to get into a habit, to incorporate a habit of studying, reading, training the mind. Because we know the mind is the first place of liberation. The mind is the first place of revolution. So we require you in Black August to get into the habit of reading. Read at least 30 minutes a day in Black August. Get you a book. Get you books that requires strictly hard political education. So you can understand the material struggle. So you can understand what's going on in the world. So you can understand what we're fighting against. So you can understand what we're fighting towards, which is ultimately in the end, nation statehood or liberation. So we require you to read during Black August, to sharpen your mind skills, to sharpen your political skills. Read, brothers and sisters. This is the month that you should incorporate that. So the whole total basis of this all is for you to acquire a disciplined habit. A disciplined habit. 365 days out the year. Not just only Black August. Black August can be, observed 365, 24/7 is what we're trying to accomplish with our brothers and sisters, man. We got to get our people back into the habit of being disciplined human beings to create and produce productive Black men, productive Black women, productive human beings that can contribute to the struggle of Black liberation and ultimately new African nationalism, new African nationhood. This is the ultimate agenda and goal, to free the land, to free the people. But you must incorporate into a disciplined habit to obtain this agenda, to obtain this goal. So this is why we say fast, study, train, fight. This is the motto of Black August, man. Because we have to get back into that. If these brothers and sisters who sacrificed their lives for us, who spilt their blood behind the prison walls, the gulags, and outside the prison walls of the gulags, these brothers and sisters can do it, we can do it outside of the walls. This is why we must study the prison movement. And this is the most important thing that I need to incorporate into your minds. Just because you go to prison, the struggle does not stop. The struggle does not stop. Because those brothers and sisters behind the wall, they face the same oppression, repression, violence, dehumanization, human rights violation as the same as brothers and sisters outside the wall. Actually, the brothers and sisters who are being captured and taken to prison are actually being put back into the conditions that this empire of America was founded on, capitalist slavery. So these brothers and sisters are fighting the ultimate good fight when they're behind the prison walls. Because they have now been returned to the system that this country is founded on, capitalist slavery. Period. And you must understand this has been going on ever since we were brought here, captured as political prisoners. We are still political prisoners, man. I know a lot of that. I know that's hard for a lot of our people to even understand that we are political prisoners. We are political prisoners outside the walls because we are still captive. We are a captive nation. So we're trying to get this, education propagandized, popularized, but not commercialized. This is something that has to be taught to your babies. This has to be taught to the elders who don't know better. It has to be taught to people my age who don't know better. So we can decolonize them, get them from becoming colonial subjects no longer. Because a lot of our people are deeply conditioned, deeply colonized peoples. We are colonized people. We are a colony. We are a colonized nation. They're still struggling to free the land, to liberate the land. Period. So, brothers and sisters, you are political prisoners. You may not have the chains on of your ancestors when they were brought here. You might not have the chains on, but you're still captives. We are still captives under this white supremacist system, this capitalist system, this imperialist system of the United States of America, the empire. We are a captured nation. And so many brothers and sisters have died understanding that they are a captive nation. And that we are captives of our own nation that's captured by another nation. We are prisoners of war because Africa was invaded by our enemies, historical enemies, which was a war. We're still in that war right now. We're still in a war. And we're still in the war to liberate Africa. Because if Africa is not liberated, there's no way on this planet Black Lives Matter. If we're not liberated, Black Lives Matter does not matter. If Black liberation doesn't matter, Black lives doesn't matter. Because there's a whole nother struggle. There's a whole nother struggle that has been suppressed. It has not been taught. So this is what Black August is. Black August is not, and let me repeat this, Black August is not the second Black History Month. Black August is not the second Black History Month. Because we know Black History Month was given to us by our oppressors. Black History Month was given to us. It's a commercialized history of our struggle. It's a revised history of our struggle. So this is why we take Black August so seriously, because we need to commemorate the proper context, the proper history of our struggle. The bloodshed on the flag. The bloodshed on the flag. This is why Black August is so important, man. And we must observe it. We must commemorate it. One important thing before I slide into the other point that the other segment of the video that I want to discuss about fasting. First, let me say something that's overlooked in Black August that I want to talk about real quick. It's about the brother W.L. Nolan. The giant W.L. Nolan. The jailhouse lawyer W.L. Nolan. The revolutionary freedom fighter, organizer, W.L. Nolan. The one who set it off. The one this whole Black August is founded on and is the basis of why we commemorate Black August. It's W.L. Nolan. Something that's not really talked about is something that W.L. Nolan did in the summer of 1969. And I'm going to read it to you. In the summer of 1969, W.L. Nolan, a 20-year-old inmate, this shows you how young this brother was. This shows you how young this brother was. This young freedom fighting brother was. This brother was only 20 years old. A 20-year-old inmate at Soledad Prison who had been convicted in 1963 for a robbery began circulating a petition to file a lawsuit against the prison superintendent, Cletus J. Fitzharris, charging that guards and officials at the facility knew of existing social and racial conflicts, and that they had been seeking to excite them through direct harassment in ways not actionable in court, including filing false disciplinary reports and intentional leaving Black inmates' cells unlocked to put them in danger from white supremacist assault. W.L. Nolan stated further that officials were willfully creating and maintaining situations that imposes danger to himself and he feared for his life. Let me say that again. W.L. Nolan stated further that officials in the prison system were willfully creating and maintaining situations that creates and poses danger to W.L. Nolan, and that W.L. Nolan stated he feared for his life. So in the summer of 1969, this great brother W.L. Nolan started a petition and filed a lawsuit against the prison system at Soledad Prison about the inhumane and purposely assault, racial discrimination, social injustice against black new African prisoners, black and brown prisoners by white supremacist guards, white supremacist officials in prison systems. So this brother in 1969 filed a petition, filed a lawsuit, because this brother was a revolutionary lawyer. Which would lead up to his assassination, January 13th, 1970. And I wanted to highlight that because a lot of people like to say that, oh, petitions doesn't do nothing. Oh, you're wasting your time distributing petitions when it comes to our struggle. I'm here to tell you that this shows otherwise. Because this one petition that W.L. Nolan filed in this lawsuit he filed against the crooked prison system of the Empire of America, Soledad Prison, created a whole movement, created a whole revolutionary struggle, created a whole revolutionary month, which is called Black August Resistance Memorial Month, off this one petition in 1969. And it cost this young 20-year-old brother his life. This petition cost this 20-year-old fierce new African revolutionary freedom fighter his life at 20 years old. At 20 years old. You got brothers today. You got brothers and sisters today that would not take that ultimate step. You got brothers and sisters today who would not take that ultimate sacrifice, who would not take that step. Today, this brother was only 20. We must honor him. We must commemorate this brother's name. We must say his name when we pour in libation to the ancestors. We must commemorate W.L. Nolan. This name should never, ever, ever, ever be forgotten. 20 years old. 20 years old, this brother took the ultimate sacrifice. Started on a petition. How about that? He took it upon himself to hold our oppressors accountable for the brutal acts, the violence, the repression of the brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters behind the walls, man. Like I'm always trying to tell people, just because you do a crime doesn't make you criminal. Just because you do a crime doesn't make you a criminal. And just because you go to prison doesn't mean the oppression stops. Actually, it intensifies. These brothers and sisters get the first up-close view of what's going on with the new African nation and what's going on with black people, man. Everything that transpires behind the prison walls, is the upfront, brutal observation of what's going on with our people, man. They see it every day behind those walls. Up close, murder, genocide, dehumanization, locked down in cells 24 hours a day. No air, no sun. Solitary confinement is death. It's euthanasia. It's a slow death. This is what they rose up to fight against. Their human rights being violated. Like our human rights are being violated every day outside the Gulag walls, man. This is a human rights struggle. This is something you got to understand. We can also say Black August is a human rights month. Because we are fighting for human rights, not civil rights. And this young 20-year-old brother gave his life for our people, gave his life for our nation, man. W.L. Nolan, write that name down. I will share this information in the comment box when I get off this live, man. The W.L. Nolan summertime petition that sparked what we know today as Black August, man. And brought into existence what we know today as Black August. Period. And to my last part of this video, the last two parts of this video that I want to discuss, which is fasting and returning to the land, nation, statehood. I really wanted to touch on fasting, man, because this is something that I really wanted to discuss with our people, man, is that fasting is an ancient African healing method and why you should partake in fasting. Not only through Black August, but you should implement fasting into your daily life routine throughout the year, man. Because the one thing we got to understand, when we're facing all this oppression, we're facing all this violence, we're facing all this genocide, the most important thing that we need to understand and take care of is our mental health. Is our mental health and our physical health. From all this brutal repression and oppression we go through daily. Is that we need mental liberation. We need mental revolution. Fasting, we are, to a certain degree, fasting we know is for the body. It's to cleanse the body. It's to of toxins, blockages, and all types of things. And also to just strictly resist the intakes that we put into our body daily, man. But the most important aspect of fasting is the mental repairment, the mental freedom, the mental liberation. This is the time that you can reset. Fasting helps your mind reset and focus from all the distractions and the cloggedness of oppression. This is why fasting is good. Fasting is good for the mind. It's the discipline to restrain yourself from the intakes of what you're putting into your body 24/7, 365 days out the year, man. And our ancestors been doing this since the days of ancient Kemet, since the days of ancient Igbo land, since the days of ancient Tanzania, South Africa. Our ancestors been doing this ancient fasting since the days of Great Kush in Ethiopia. This is one of the central methods of healing, holistic medicine. Fasting. Fasting. Fasting is liberation. You need to liberate your body. You need to liberate your mind for a certain amount of time, brothers and sisters. We live in a different world than our ancestors did. We eat Western diets that are high in sugar, processed foods, both of which have been linked to depression and other mental illness. We breathe in industrial chemicals. We put cancer-causing soaps and lotions on our skin. Even the water that comes out our faucet can be dangerous. Today in 2020, we are in a world fulfilled with GMOs, industrial pollution, sugar-packed beverages, and lead-laced water. How do we free our body from this? How do we free our body from toxins, blockages? You know how you do it? You do it by giving your body the chance to detoxify itself and rebuild its defense systems through fasting. Let me say that again. How do you free your body from all these toxins and blockages? By giving your body the chance to detoxify itself and rebuild itself and rebuild the defense systems through fasting. What is detoxification? Detoxification is your body's process of eliminating toxins that you eat, drink, and breathe through your colon, liver, kidneys, lungs, lymph nodes, and your melanated skin. Let me say that again if you ain't catch it. What is detoxification? Detoxification is your body's process eliminating toxins that you eat, drink, and breathe through your colon, liver, kidneys, lungs, lymph nodes, and your melanated skin. Fasting gives your organs the time and energy that it needs to repair themselves. So when you're fasting, right, when you're restraining from food intake, sugary drink intakes, liquor, alcohol, things of this nature that your body picks up on, which is toxins. These toxins cause bacteria, unhealthy bacteria, man. Think about it. 365 days out the year, 24/7 days out, out this year. You're going to be consuming foods, meats, and things of that nature. You're going to be drinking alcohol. You're going to be smoking. You're going to be putting all these toxins into your body. This is why people become obese. This is where obesity comes from. The intake of toxins in return creates bacteria in the body. The body can't breathe. The body needs oxygen. Your mind needs oxygen. How do you think your brain functions? It functions off oxygen. So all these things over the periods of 365 days out the year tends to build up bacteria blockages in your body. This is why your skin starts to look bad. If people don't understand, this is why your skin starts to look bad. From all the intakes of sugar, fructose syrup, contaminated water, smoking, alcohol, and meat. So the most important of it all, you have to give your body a break from meat intake, man. And induce that with plant intake. This is science. This is what your ancestors practiced in ancient times. Nobody's telling you to be a vegetarian. You don't have to be this all-out, super-duper, over-conscious vegetarian. No, you just have to give your body a chance to reset, to re-energize. These are methods and steps you can take throughout the year. You don't have to be a full-time vegetarian. Because I know brothers and sisters who eat meat are more healthy than vegetarians. Facts. Facts. There are brothers and sisters out here who eat meat who are more healthier than vegetarians who don't eat meat. Facts. So don't get caught up into these super duper conscious people who try to bash you for not being a vegetarian. You don't have to be a vegetarian. No, you just have to incorporate one of the sacred methods of holistic healing and medicine, which is fasting. Give your body a break. Give your mental mind a break from obsessing with food, alcohol, liquor, and bad toxins that you're putting into your body, man. What is the methods to fasting? What does fasting does? What does it do for us? What happens when you fast? Write this down. A fast officially starts after 8 hours of no food or carbohydrate intake. After about 8 hours of fasting, the liver will use the last of its glucose reserves. Listen to what I'm saying. About 8 hours of fasting, the liver will use the last of its glucose reserves. At this point, the insulin levels in the body decrease and the body enters into a state called gluconeogenesis, marking the body's transition into fasting mode. Glucogenesis. Keyword, genesis, restarting the body. Everything has a beginning point. Human existence has a beginning point. The genesis. Right? It's in your Bibles, right? Christians, religious people, the Genesis. So this is fasting is resetting back to your Genesis stage, marking the body's transition into fasting mode. This is a few things that happens when you fast. When you go into that fasting mode, when you go back into that Genesis, your body flushes harmful cells. Autophagy is a natural process that your body uses to rid itself of the unneeded damage or harmful cells when you fast. Typically, autophagy begins anywhere from 36 to 72 hours into your fast. The good thing about this process is that it allows your body to regenerate newer, healthier cells by flushing out, eating out the old ones. In fact, the word autophagy translates into self-eating. Auto means self, phagy means eat. Autophagy has been shown to decrease the risk of dementia, cancer, as well as other age-related diseases. Fasting also counters aging. This is why you see, if you're a person that partakes in fasting, this is why you see a lot of great black brothers and sisters with good skin. This is why they look young. They still look young today. Trust me. This is why they say black don't crack. Because a lot of these brothers and sisters are fasting throughout the year. That's because autophagy declines as we age. So this means cells that no longer work or may do harm are allowed to multiply, which is the MO of cancer cells. Now, the most important part of fasting is the mental health, the revolutionizing of your mind, giving your mind time to reset and refurbish itself in the genesis, to start over from the beginning, to clear your mind. Fasting mentally, you feel better and you think more clearly. If you can get past the first 48 hours of a fast, your body will start to adapt by releasing feel-good chemicals like adrenaline, norepinephrine, and dopamine. These chemicals make you feel more alert and give you an overall feeling of euphoria and well-being. Facts. If that's not good enough, fasting helps your brain function more effectively. The most important objective of Black August is clear mental thinking. This is why we say study, fast, train. Study, fast, train. The most important components of that is your mind. Studying through fasting. Brain liberation. Intermittent metabolic switching. Repeating cycles of metabolic challenge that induces ketosis, fasting, and exercise, followed by a recovery period, eating, resting, and sleeping. May optimize brain function and resilience through the lifespan, with a focus on the neuron circuits involved in cognition and mood. Personally, fasting can improve your focus and productivity. You have to understand, when your body uses energy to digest food, it leaves less of energy from your brain. But when you fast, you think more clearly. Metabolism change. Metabolism is a process that all living things go through to convert food into energy. When your body isn't breaking down the food to use as energy, it breaks down fat. That process is called ketosis. That process is called ketosis. Increases your metabolism by 3.6 to 14%. And with no getting tongue-tied, carbohydrates coming in, the body creates its own glucose using mainly fat. This is why people become obese. Fasting increases the production of ketones, and this may spare the body's protein from oxidation. The primary driver of muscle protein synthesis, the body's process of generating new muscle tissue, is availability of essential amino acids, and that in the keto adaptive state, blood levels of leucine increases. In other words, the keto adaptive state spares protein and preserves lean tissue. During fasting, insulin and glucose plummet while counter-regulatory hormones increase, setting up a mallow that favors fat oxidation and enhances autophagy. While protein breaks down and exceeds protein synthesis during a week-long fast, this does not necessarily mean that the muscle protein breakdown exceeds muscle protein synthesis. All cells contains protein. So when proteins are catabolized, this may be preferably coming from a skin and intestinal cells, for example, compared to muscles. The bottom line is that when you're fasting, your body burns fats, preserves, and even creates new muscles, flushes itself of dead cells, and give you the mental clarity and the focus that you need on your spiritual path. Issei. Let me say that one more time. The bottom line is that when you're fasting, your body burns fat, preserves, and even creates new muscle, flushes itself of dead cells, and give you the mental clarity and the focus that you need on your spiritual path. So fasting is mental, spiritual, physical liberation. This is why this is mainly incorporated in the month of Black August. Issei. And last and not least, before I get off here, the last part of the live that I want to discuss. Returning to the land. Returning to the land. Nation statehood. What do I mean by that? And why is that important to Black August? It is important to Black August because I'm going to take you back to FLEE, the acronym of FLEE. What does it state? It states the first liberation expedition of Africa. Where here in North America, the new Africans is fighting for the new Africa. The new Africa of the Black Belt, South. So what I'm basically stating is that you have to understand these brothers and sisters that sacrifice their life, these freedom fighters that sacrifice their life, these martyrs that sacrifice their life behind those prison walls, behind the gulags walls, they had an end game. They wasn't just sacrificing their life just to be throwing themselves in front of a bullet. They wasn't just sacrificing their life to be murdered, to escape their misery. No, this was attached to a total overall context of what we're struggling for as Black people. What is that total context that we're struggling for? We're fighting for the land, people. We're fighting for the land. We're fighting to return to that land. Because right now, all across the Empire of America, we have refugees. We have new African refugees who have been dispersed through the Empire of the United States of America. They live in New York. They live in California. They live in Detroit. They live in the Deep South, in Houston, Texas, in New Orleans. But all these individuals left one particular space that's sacred to us as a people. Where is that sacred space? That sacred space is the Deep South, the Black Belt South. This is the focus, and this is what we must educate our people on. We have a sacred land and space in North America that we're struggling for, that blood was shedded over, and where individuals, ancestors are buried at. George Jackson wasn't fighting to be an integrationist. George Jackson wasn't fighting to be a citizen of the United States of America, because a long time ago, when George Jackson was captured by the empire and George Jackson was incarcerated, he gave up being American soon as he was incarcerated. Soon as he met Marx, Lenin, and all these great thinkers, Ho Chi Minh. George Jackson gave up being American because he liberated himself. He liberated his mind. In prison, he didn't let them capture his mind. He didn't let them capture his mind. Qatari Gordon didn't let them capture his mind. W.L. Nolan did not let them capture his mind. This is why you see in the FLEE, the liberation expedition of Africa, because they know the totality of the struggle was either to get back to Africa, just like those ancestors on them plantations. They knew that they were going to die fighting to either get back to Africa or they was going to create their own Africa on this soil. Period. Or in the end game to liberate the black colony, which George Jackson spoke on so eloquently. We must liberate the black colony. So when you hearing George Jackson in Blood in My Eye and all his works talking about the black colony, he's specifically talking about a national nation state of peoples that's not liberated yet or has not liberated the land yet. But we have struggled for 300 to 400 years on this land trying to liberate some land, trying to get back to the land, Africa. So what I'm saying here today is that new Africans all across America are returning to the land. The stats are showing black people are coming back to the South in droves, in numbers, because they are sacredly binded and bonded to that land, because this is where we started out and still are political prisoners. This is where the political prisoners from the other African nations and the African ethnic groups, this was their foundation. This is the ground zero of the fight for liberation. It started right here in Virginia. It started right here in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. Ground zero. This is where our struggle initiated at. On southern soil, southern lands. So we have to educate our people about the black belt struggle. The black belt struggle. It's a historical context and a historical history of our story that's not being told. And it's being suppressed by the white supremacist ruling class instruction. They don't want you to teach your babies about the black belt struggle, man. But it's our birthright and our duty to fight for that. It's our birthright to fight for that. And it's our duty to educate and liberate the minds of our people to teach them about that. The southern lands is our home. We're new African refugees. We're dispersed, we're scattered. But guess what, brothers and sisters? During this period of Black August, I'm telling you to come home. Come back to the South. Come back to the South, brothers and sisters. Come back to the South, because this is where the land will be liberated from. The South. Come back home. And we are coming back home because they are returning back in numbers, man. We're returning back to the South in numbers, man. So in the end, what I'm basically saying to you is that all these brothers and sisters that gave their lives during Black August, all the slave rebellions during Black August, all the brothers and sisters still incarcerated, Sundiata Okola, all the new African freedom fighters that still captured, Assata Shakur, that's in exile, Pete O'Neill, that's in Africa, the great Black Panther. All these great brothers and sisters that's in exile, who gave up their life, who sacrificed their freedom to try to liberate us. It's our duty to continue that struggle to free the land, brothers and sisters. George Jackson and them did not die. Listen to what I'm saying. George Jackson and them did not sacrifice themselves to be under this government and this system that we're still under today, being genocided in, through a pandemic, through police terrorism. George Jackson did not fight for us to remain in this. George Jackson died and fought for us to have our own. Period. End goal, nation statehood. End goal, free land. End goal, free oppressed people. And to create a society that could sustain freedom-loving people. To create a better world for oppressed people starts with the land liberation. George Jackson and the New African Guerrillas died for that. And you still have New African Guerrillas behind the walls right now. Abdul Shakur, Hashima Jinsai, all these great revolutionary, new African revolutionary nationalists who continue the struggle of Black August. These are our great scholars, concrete scholars. We must return to the land, brothers and sisters, man. This is what Black August is about. Black liberation matters. Because if Black liberation doesn't matter, there's no way Black lives matter. Because we're not free. We're not free. So in closing, like I said, and I'm always keep saying it, be a loyal enemy, brothers and sisters. Be a loyal enemy. Because your enemy has more faith in what you can do than what you can do. Be a loyal enemy, brothers and sisters. Be a loyal enemy. And honor your ancestors. Honor your martyrs. Honor the blood spilled. Because my truth is my religion and liberation is my spirituality. I'm out. Haki Kweli Shakur, man. A.K.A. E.K. Chukwu. Free the land. By any means necessary. Long live George Jackson. Long live the New African Guerrillas. Long live the Black Liberation Movement.